What is up, guys? Welcome back to Scene Invaders Podcast, episode number 398. I'm Chad. I'm still introducing myself, guys. I'm keeping this ball rolling, and I'm going to really try to keep it rolling. And I'm currently still shook from seeing The Substance earlier. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but boy, I'm fresh off of that, and there's a lot to say here. I also have Brad from Canada. Mr. Brad.
How's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? Yes. We need t-shirt. I need a t-shirt that said, okay. Sorry, side tangent. We also have Mr. Coach. Mr. Coach.
How's it going, eh?
Oh,
Yes, my man. I have been waiting like
I'm gonna
100
start saying-
goddamn episodes for you to say something equivalent to that. I'm so happy.
I wasn't even ever smart enough to think maybe I should say how's it going, eh? But
You
I'm only
introduce
just now
yourself.
like introducing myself for the first time, really, anyway. So
Yeah, part of my movie review today will be an extreme love of Canada, and a desire to put myself in a certain part of Canada for a certain part of time.
okay.
Well, part of my review will be a disdain for Canada.
Okay. Yeah, we were just talking about this, guys.
And,
I'm with Mr. Brad on this one, man. It's-
This is This is point counterpoint.
Yes.
Yes.
And I will not defend because not everything about my country is all happy and rosy. So we'll just leave it at that. But we'll get into it. So
yeah. And
Let's
I mean,
play.
get into it now, man. I mean, I'm fresh on this like hatred for what's going on there because if I was in that situation, as much as I love movies and shit, I would be a sad bear. Sad bear noises coming from me.
Well, we're going to pop with the what's new. And I had a few things that I really wanted to be what's new. There's a lot of movies, a lot of programs. Yes, I said programs in the Canadian way. And
That was like my grandma, man.
that
I liked
were,
it.
oh, your grandma's Canadian.
No, she would always say her program was on.
My programs. Well, and my stories.
So-
there was a lot of movies I wanted to see this weekend. There was a big list, and unfortunately, they were not available to me because my country, for whatever reason, would rather play Deadpool and Wolverine in every damn theater or Twisters, and that's great. Okay, I like that the movie industry is making money with Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters. Go nuts, go nuts, go nuts. But then it was at the detriment of not being able to see movies that my partners have seen. Unless I want to drive legit 120 kilometers away.
Yeah, nah.
So not really available to me. So I sulked a lot on Instant Messenger between these guys and really was not happy. So I turned to television. And with television, I was able to find season 2 of Tulsa King, starring Sylvester Stallone as the put-out gangster who gets shipped to Oklahoma just to be put away. Now, in season 1, he did what he does anywhere else. He's a gangster, and he's a very good at what he does gangster. Been a man at a time because he was in the joint for 25 years. And nobody ever says prison. They always say the joint. So that's what I'm just kind of adopting their colloquialisms. But
I like it.
He's a good earner.
He is the best earner because wherever he goes, he sees opportunity, and he is really good at being a gangster. Now, at the end of season 1, spoiler alert, if you've seen it, you've seen it. He was arrested because he was dating an ATF officer, and to save her own skin, she kind of had to turn him in. So, yeah, he went to jail. He got bail, and he is off to new adventures in this next one. Now, we actually had a possible discussion on who is always playing a villain. There are plenty of characters that when you see them, they're a villain. And the newest villain in this one, it sounds funny because our hero is a villain because he's a gangster. But Stallone is
a gangster with a heart of gold. No, I really don't know, but
God, he is so fun and charming, and you want to root for this guy.
Sure.
Because I don't know if it's just because it's Stallone or just the character he plays. He's very charming. and you almost feel why everybody around him in this fictitious world falls for his charm. Because I would,
Mhm.
I would work for him. Like it's just it's. I don't think Stallone really gets his accolades for the actual talented actor that he is. Originally, he was the body, he was the action star and everything, but he's not. He's a tough guy in this, but the he's not the Terminator. He's not Rambo. He's
Right.
not.
This is more to the better of the spectrum. This isn't Copland, but it's definitely not Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Exactly.
You know, it is a higher end, closer to Copland.
Yeah,
Stallone.
and he was
Okay.
great in Copland. I loved him in Copland.
Yeah.
Freddie,
I think
Yeah.
that's kind of his best work.
I agree. Until this, because this is just
Mhm.
him across the board. And I don't know if TV just brings this out of people, but it allows you to tell a Russian novel of like 2,000 pages. You can keep going as long as they tell you to keep going, and he's going very well. But back to villain, I believe his name is Neil McDonough.
He's the blue-eyed devil.
Blue-eyed, blonde-haired, square-jawed, charming as hell, but just that scowl.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect villain.
Who he played a similar character. So Tulsa King is a Tyler Sheridan creation. Tyler Sheridan is like the hot
Sons of
hands.
Anarchy.
Yeah, he's in Sons of Anarchy. He created Yellowstone and all those 1916s, 18 spinoffs.
All the Stones.
All the Stones.
All the Stones, right?
And in the first season of Yellowstone, Neil McDonough was the blue-eyed bad guy. And
Yeah,
there's a presence to this dude.
Yeah, charming, evil, is going to play Satan one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always well put together, like
established. He's not some junkie. He is always the suit wearing, well manicured, perfectly coiffed.
The suave villain.
Yes.
That guy. Yeah, I think Hans Gruber. The gentleman villain. I love the gentleman villain.
Yeah, me too.
Versus the psycho villain. But yeah, Stallone as Dwight has his crew, and they're just navigating through the ridiculousness, and I'm here for it.
I'm stupid. I didn't know what this was before tonight, guys. Anybody listening? So I have to ask the stupid question that probably everybody knows.
Yeah,
where is the streaming? Because I don't know.
Paramount
Plus.
Oh, okay. I've heard the name, I guess, but other than that, I've not heard of it.
Yeah, like I said, it had a pretty successful season 1, and season 2 took a long time to show up, and I'm glad it did.
I was gonna say at least there is a season 2, and it's not like Netflix where it's like people love the show and they were like, "Sorry guys, you got your season 1 of it. We're not making that shit anymore." So
I don't think Terminator is getting a season 2 on Netflix. Good.
I didn't really see too many people say anything good about it after you guys talked about it. I saw a couple other people mention it. I mean, I didn't look super into it, but I kept seeing kind of what you guys were saying about it. And, yeah.
Well, another thing on Paramount I watch is the second season of it's not a reboot, it's a continuation of Frasier.
Okay.
Now, back in the 90s, I was a big Frasier fan. I love the comedy. I love everything about it. And when they said that they were going to redo this, it was like, you can't.
Yeah.
They tried it with Will and Grace. They tried it with a few other.
Roseanne, I know was one.
Roseanne, the Connors and stuff. And although the Connors has run as long as it's run,
is it still on?
I don't even know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't even know. My ex-wife really loved Roseanne and loved the Connors and stuff. So I would show up, pick my daughter up, and it was on. I'm like, okay, cool, it's still on.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
I think all three of us are a fan of John Goodman for one reason or the other.
Daddy.
Yes.
John Goodman.
One reason or the other.
I'm such a mess. Good Lord.
You're my favorite person, John.
I can't help it, guys.
Good looking son of a bitch. So John Goodman. But yeah, this kind of, you're not reinventing the wheel with this. I mean, you got to.
Well, I don't think you would want him to
No, and that's it. You have a pretentious psychiatrist who works at Harvard, who is an established millionaire from a Jerry Springer like talk show originally, and now he's just navigating, trying to get some credibility within his family, his son, his friends, everything. And if anybody knows anything about Frasier, he is put in predicaments that is like equivalent to like a French farce.
Mhm.
This could not happen, but it's fun to watch. And Kelsey Grammer is that character. It's entertaining, and his co-stars, they know what lane they're in.
Mhm.
So it is strictly entertainment. And I just watched the last 2 episodes just before we started recording, just because pop it on, because I wanted to watch something else other than
Sure.
Tulsa King, and my theaters are not allowing anything unless I want to go see Twisters again. I don't. And
I'll watch that again at home.
Deadpool Wolverine comes out in October 1st. So yeah.
Oh,
Not that it not been like, Christ, go on Facebook or like Twitter or anything. You can watch the whole freaking movie there. It's been lifted a million times, and everyone throws any clips. But
I'm sure if you want to see it badly enough, you can.
well, I mean that I'm not knocking it, because man, that has quote unquote saved Marvel, because it's made $88 billion.
Sure.
Like, it's still making money. When I sneak in after I go see Transformers this weekend and just duck in to see what Deadpool and Wolverine are doing, there's going to be about a half a dozen people in there still. So yeah, it's still making money.
Of course, definitely. Yeah,
So, yeah,
otherwise
that was my TV adventures, because, as I said, my country has failed me in the most embarrassing way, because I say that because I'm embarrassed, because is this really a complaint? Oh, I can't see the movies I want to watch.
Yeah, it's first world problems.
This is the first world problem. Come on.
But still, man, it sucks. And like I said earlier to the guys before we recorded, I'm going to put on my Karen wig and write a strongly worded email to Canada that they need to get it together.
Well, once we get email, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I get you for sure.
So that's it for me. What do y'all got?
All right. Nothing new from Brad. That was it. So me, guys. Oh my God. A couple things to talk about, and Coach and I are going to discuss one thing that we both saw. So Speak No Evil, the remake came out. This is a remake of a movie that is literally 2 years old. It's a Danish film, a Danish horror film that, like I said, it came out in 2022, guys. So was this remake necessary? No.
I actually have a theory about that, though, but continue.
Okay. Was I excited for it? Honestly, kind of not really, because I had seen the fucking trailer for this shit so many times. I know we've discussed that on here. It was everywhere. I even joke it. I made a video about it, guys. So if you want, check on our YouTube. I made a video comparing the two Speak No Evil movies, kind of the differences between the two. And I discussed, and I say even in there that, like, I felt like it played before Inside Out 2, for God's sake. Like, it just was that inescapable.
I saw it in my bathroom.
Yeah, no, God, it was everywhere and crazy, and I was sick of it. And I don't really watch trailers. I wear like noise canceling earbuds at the theater and stuff, and I keep those in. But I would look up, and I mean, before everything, I would see James McAvoy at some point. So I went to see it anyway because I did really like the original movie, and I really liked this one as well. This is, like I said, I had pretty much no expectations going on. This is a Blumhouse movie. Their output this year has been absolute trash, in my opinion. This did at least seem a little bit more promising because I love James McAvoy. I think he's amazing. I really took notice of him in Split, and I knew the role he was going to play here. So I was excited to see what he would do with it. This is a wildly Americanized remake of that original. So the setup basically is two families meet on vacation. They're similarly aged. They have a small child each that are like similarly aged, and end up becoming very friendly on this resort type vacation together and spend a lot of the vacation together. So at the end of this, one family invites the other to come to their home for the weekend, or like a long weekend, and hang out. The kids can play, have adult time, have some wine, we can cook dinner, walk in our little country home area and all that kind of stuff, and just relax and chill. And from there, things get increasingly uncomfortable for sure. Darker, sinister. One family is certainly trying to push the buttons of the other to test boundaries, see what they can get away with. And I mean, probably a lot of people know, I'm not going to spoil it here though, but it just devolves into something that in the original is wildly, insanely pitch black dark, like so dark that I just rewatched it again this weekend. I've seen the new one twice, and then now I've seen the original twice. And at the end of it, I just felt hope. I was free from hope, guys. It's just a hopeless feeling movie in the end. And it's just so insanely sinister and dark. And this new movie follows very much the same formula and a lot of really the same like script, the same beats and stuff as the original up until a certain point. But it takes it in a wildly different direction and makes it into a crowd pleaser, which saying that I would be like, that sounds like trash. I don't want to fucking watch that. But it's so entertaining.
Cool.
And it's so much fun. And a lot of that fun does come from James McAvoy. Because, yeah, you have to sit and watch characters that I think most people probably aren't going to relate to because their decisions or lack of decision, honestly, a lot of the time, to get themselves the fuck out of this situation is just hard to relate to. It's eye rolling as hell. But in the original one, I think there was a commentary on that as far as like on the Danish culture. They're too nice, they're non-confrontational, all that kind of stuff. But like I argued in my video, if you're an American going into that and you don't know Danish culture, that's probably not something that's going to land with you. So these decisions or lack of a decision are going to come across equally eye-rolling, I think, as the new one. The new one maybe pushes it a little bit more, but it takes it into a place. And I know I bitched about Trap Guys and how much I hate that movie and the poor decisions there and how nobody ever does anything that seems like a human being would do.
Well, Trap was nothing but like an exercise in absolute convenience to help the
Well, in this
protagonist.
I wouldn't say this is necessarily convenience, but like characters are being written to do stupid shit that just aren't human. That just you sit back and you just want to roll your eyes, guys. But the new one, I found just to be wildly entertaining. I say Americanized. I'm not trying to make it slanderous by saying that, but they do make it a crowd pleaser. They make it something fun to watch. It's extremely dark subject matter, what's going on here. So it is still very dark and fucked up like the original. It just doesn't leave you in this like deep, dark pit of like hopelessness the way the original one does. And James McAvoy here, my God, guys, for me, through the entirety of this movie, he is like just a bomb waiting to explode. Even when he's friendly, even when he's easy to get along with, amicable, all of that. There is something brewing constantly, and I mean like barely below the surface. And there is this tension, and just it's something is going to go off here. But you just don't know how or when. And even if you've seen the original, you still don't kind of know how or when or how he's going to do it. And it created a ton of tension for me. And by the end of this one, and like I said, it does go in a different direction. I found myself kind of on the edge of my seat. It's a little bit silly. It's just a crowd pleasing, like it's entertainment. The first one had a lot more to say. I thought it was deeper. It definitely sticks to your ribs more than this one. But this one was just a hell of an entertaining time at the theater. The original, Speak No Evil from 2022, I categorize more as a horror film. This I would categorize more as a thriller personally, even though it is a lot of the same type of things. And that's really just because of the way they handle the ending.
Was the Danish version a little more graphic?
No, it's really not terribly graphic. And it's up until like basically just the final act of it. Everything here is basically the same. Once you find out what's going on here with certain people, one takes it in a direction while using the same motivations, I guess, to take it into just incredibly bleak, dark, head-hanging territory. And one turns it into a chance to turn this into like a story of
redemption.
Kind of that. Yeah, like revenge, redemption, finally standing up for yourself, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I don't want to. I hope that doesn't spoil anything. I don't really think it does.
Well,
honestly, I think most people probably
we've all seen the trailer. Like I said.
Well, I was going to say I bitched about in my video. I guess Blumhouse did some study where they study because the trailer I thought spoiled way too much. I did watch the trailer for this because I'd seen the original, so I wasn't worried about it being spoiled. And I guess they had done some study where when they show everybody everything in the trailer and like spell out big plot points and stuff, more people go and see it, which
I
Cannot
don't get
relate
that.
to.
See,
I don't
yeah,
understand that at all.
well, I had a theory about remakes, and as I've said with back when we talked about the Crow remake, did it need to be made? Yada yada yada, whatever. No, the remake is not made for us. It's made for people who didn't see it. Now, here's the thing. I did a little bit of research on the original Danish movie.
Mhm.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah, and I mean that is a thing
No,
for sure.
nobody saw it. So this story is not going to get told.
Yeah.
Now you have a zealous director, not overzealous, just zealous director who's looking for properties,
Sure.
and the original Danish director is signed off on it to him
Sure.
to remake it.
And I don't think this was a lazy remake at all.
And
This was
as
not
is,
just like some like ship this movie out kind of thing.
remakes, reboots, everything are not for the people that saw the
Yeah.
original. They're for the people that didn't see it.
Yeah, and I like I said in my video, I
And
think
if this
most
is going to
people
get
going into
more
this
eyes
haven't.
on the original, just to hey, what else we got? Because like there's this thing called the internet, guys. You can check stuff out that's not really your colloquialisms, and
Yeah, no, I agree for
so
sure.
I mean,
And if you do go to decide to check
Oh,
out
go
the
ahead.
original, you're going to get a very different experience than what you did with this movie. So I think that kind of is a good thing in a way if you do decide to go
I
back
think
to it.
that's brilliant. If like okay, for the guys that didn't like the remake of The Crow, go see the original. If you didn't like the original,
Facts.
go read the comic. If you didn't like that, you're hopeless. Like you'll never like it. But this is just going to get eyes on a property
Mhm.
or eyes on a story that originally didn't have too many eyes.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I know some
That's-
people
that-
didn't like this one, and I don't think necessarily just because it was a remake. And yeah, again, I kind of stand by. I don't think it was necessary. It's only 2 years old. If it was a little bit older, like I might stand by it a little bit more. It just, and especially with the original being like at least 75 probably percent in English. Like I would kind of rather seen that one propped up in a way, but I definitely see what you're saying. It brings attention
An
to
intriguing
the
story
name.
is an intriguing story, and if 2 people saw the original, hey, maybe I can get 10 people to see this
Yeah,
one, and
exactly.
it has made its money back.
Yeah.
It was
Blumhouse is great at being able to do that.
really up there. It's made
Well,
its money back.
It's made its
plus.
budget back. Who knows how much they spend on advertising
Marketing, God.
every single day.
They're like make it like you got to play this for everything, dog. Like,
Yeah,
money
yeah.
raining like
Yes, it's like Spaceballs, the flamethrower, Spaceballs, the breakfast.
Sure.
I mean, it was like Never Let Go. Was it never? What's this called?
Oh,
Speak
this is
No
Speak
Evil.
No Evil, yeah.
Speak No Evil, like toilet paper. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's everywhere.
I
Yeah.
definitely get some of the criticisms I've seen about this because it takes something that does hit you very hard in the end and really changes it to make it something that's very, very different in tone than the original. So I kind of get the complaints there. But for me, they stand, I think, very much alongside each other as different experiences. I rated them in my letterbox the same exact rating. When I left this one, I was like, I don't remember if I rated this shit or not. And I didn't remember if I had letterbox back then when I watched it, but it turns out I did, and I had rated it. And I was surprised to see that I rated this new one the same. I do prefer that original one a little bit more because I am a miserable human being who likes miserable movie experiences. But I still I like both of them very much. And this is the one that is the new one's definitely going to play way, way, way better with American audiences. That original, if they had stuck with that ending or like remade it like shot for shot or whatever.
So the ending is different.
Oh, wildly, wildly, wildly different.
See,
Very, very different.
that's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Now,
And that's
I
where
do
some people
have
have
to
the problem,
ask
man.
one question,
Sure.
and I don't think anybody's gonna mind if you spoil this.
Okay.
Did they cut the young boy's tongue out?
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's a plot point that's the
Jimmy
same
Mack
in
looks
both
like
movies.
good and psycho, so I hope he tore the kid's tongue out.
Well, I think honestly, if you've seen the trailer for this, I think that's fairly apparent here. And yeah,
Yes, but you never
definitely.
really know. The kid could be.
You don't know exactly everything that plays out from the trailer, but like, yeah, you see a lot of what happens here. That is for sure. But yeah, definitely a recommend, guys. I understand the people who don't like it, but again, I couldn't help but be won over just by how entertaining it was. It was just entertaining time at the movies,
Well,
and
Jesus,
the
isn't that
flaws
all you
I was able to
want?
look past. I mean, not
Be
always. I'd like to
entertained.
be. Well, sometimes I like to have my boundaries pushed a little bit, or challenged, and this definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
The first one challenges you. This one really doesn't. But yeah, sometimes you just want to go and you just want to seriously have a good time. But my next movie, this was challenging, not necessarily for me, but this would be extremely challenging for a lot of people. And this is The Substance, from director Corley Farjad.
I wanted to see this, but it was not. It's not playing by me.
Yeah, and it stars Demi Moore, who I feel like we haven't seen in forever. Margaret Qualley, who I've been keeping my eye on. I think she's great, and I love her more every time I see her. And Dennis Quaid is in this as well. And I like the filmmaker. Her previous film, Revenge, is very interesting. Highly recommended. I definitely recommend it to both of you guys. It's sort of like an SA revenge thriller with like a mild horror element in it. It's just more of like a SA revenge thriller. It's just so stylish and so beautiful to look at. And that was her first film. And like to watch that and be like, wow, this is your debut film. It's just, there's art on display. She's clearly like something to watch. And that's what made me excited about this. I did avoid the trailer on this because I'm just tired of having stuff spoiled. So I was scared. But basically the gist that I had picked up from it before going to see it was that it is an absolutely batshit insane body horror film. And that's all I need to know personally to go into something. So to say that this is batshit insane is the understatement of the year. I could not believe what was unfolding in front of me through this movie.
Cool.
I'm going to give a basic setup here. I don't want to spoil too much, and I don't think anything I'm going to say here is a spoiler that would matter in any kind of a significant way. This follows Demi Moore, who is an aging star in Hollywood who is of a certain age now, so is starting to fade a bit and is grappling with the getting a little bit older, not being as relevant as they used to be, and discovers that there is a black market drug called The Substance that may allow her to do something about this aging process that she's going through. And the way this plays out and what happens here is just, it is insane. I put a short little video up on my Twitter earlier, and I just kind of didn't know what to say about it, guys, because I just was so shocked that a movie like this that's so grotesque, and it wants to be in your face, it wants to be grotesque, it wants to push you to your limit of what you're looking at, what you're seeing, what it's going to show you, and just to have people with star power in something like that was what was shocking to me about this. Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid, in like a grotesque, really grotesque, like one of the most grotesque body horror movies I've ever seen.
Really?
Was just so fascinating to me. And I thought this experience was incredible. If you do not like body horror, abort. Don't go see this movie. This is not a movie that was made for everyone. This is not a general audience thing at all. But if you know you like body horror and you don't mind having your buttons pushed or your boundaries pushed a bit, this is a hell of an experience. This, God, I've said this. So there have been a lot of good movies this year, guys, but this might sit right now at my best film of the year list.
Oh, wow.
It has so much to say about
Even
women.
with Dennis Quaid chewing?
Yeah. Oh, especially because of stuff like that. It just has so much to say about aging, Hollywood, how women are viewed in Hollywood, how women are viewed by the general public who look at women in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And there's just so much bubbling under the surface here that it's not just grotesque and gross to be grotesque and gross. It truly has a lot on its mind. This movie has a lot to say. And it's stuff I can't. I might do a video having to just like really talk about it because I want to talk about this so bad, or at least talk about it with someone who's seen it.
Do it.
But I don't want to spoil it for everyone because it
do that too.
It just goes crazy. It goes absolutely wild and crazy, and it's just unlike anything.
Did somebody level up?
No, that was me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Sonic got the golden ring there.
It's just unlike anything I've seen in a long time. Right? And there were a few other people in the theater, and I know they were like, by the end of it, through like pretty much the final act of this, and especially in probably like the final 15, 20 minutes, I was just like, because I couldn't
Oh, yeah, just
believe
a
what
gate.
they were doing. Yeah, I just my mouth hung open, and the people in the theater I think were like, because you just can't prepare. I don't really think for this. Like,
Yeah,
it's hard to
the premise
know what you're
is
getting
like
yourself into.
Demi Moore takes this black market drug and turns into the young lady, and then just what continues her career, or like
Well,
goes on
see,
auditions and
and again, I don't think this is too much spoilers, guys, but once you take this drug, like it basically creates a second version of yourself that's younger. And you have to abide by these certain rules of it, though, where your new version can be out and about for 7 days and only 7 days. And then the old version of you has to come back for 7 days. And you have to alternate weeks between your new self and your old self.
okay, so there's rules behind it,
Oh, definitely. And
which
then,
I
of
like.
course,
And
yeah.
guess what? That's the beauty part, because people don't follow rules. And do you
And
guys
of
know
course,
how old Demi Moore is?
I don't know, but she looks fucking amazing.
I do know how old she is. She's
How old is she?
61 years old.
Holy shit, for real?
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, she looks stunning. She is naked as hell
Oh
in this
no,
movie.
she is absolutely beautiful. Always has been, always will be.
She don't look
Um,
61, I'll tell you that. But you see, too, like this is such an interesting role for her too, because even though she's beautiful, and I mean, true, especially for 61, absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
This is still such an interesting role for her because she really does fit sort of exactly what they're going for here. She is an
Exactly.
older actress in Hollywood, and I mean, I think like we discussed before this, we haven't seen her in a ton of stuff recently. And then to come into a movie like this, that's so
She's got that G.I. Jane money, man. She's good.
yeah, yeah, that's so gonzo and crazy, and to like she gives a fearless performance in this. I think this is
Cool.
absolutely Oscar worthy performance from her, and the kind of thing like now I think we're going to see her in just all kinds of shit, because this is going to like make people take notice of her again. Not
Remember
that anybody
her.
didn't know who she was, but this is going to like reignite her for sure. And I think with Margaret
What
Qualley,
about
her star's been on the rise, and she's going to rise even harder and faster because of this, because she's so great here too.
what about Jack Quaid's dad?
Yeah, Dennis Quaid, man. He's not in the movie a ton, and the character he plays is so revolting and so disgusting. And so this movie has a lot of because I'm saying that this movie had the sound editing here is so it's gross. It's wet. It's squishy. It's
Visceral.
yeah, and like he is like kind of that as well. He's just this really gross,
See, I saw the
disgusting.
trailer. I saw the trailer, and it made me uncomfortable. And
It will.
as
And he
much
will,
as
for
I,
sure.
as much as I love to see Thor crash in Wakanda, bring me Thanos, the
Sure.
F yeah moments, I like being uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
I like leaving a movie that's going to stick with me.
Well, and the director here, and she did some of this kind of stuff in Revenge as well, but like the way she uses the camera sometimes, like there's a sequence where they're eating across from each other, Demi Moore and Dennis Quaid, and whatever the lens is that she uses, it brings him so incredibly like uncomfortably close
He's eating that
into
bad
your
salad.
like it feels like it's in your face, and he's eating like
Yeah.
crawfish and like sucking the meat out of crawfish, and
I love it.
it
love
just it invades your space, and it makes you it's confronting, and it's gross. And
I might make the 120K drive just to see
Okay.
this, because I'm just,
honestly,
like I
if
said,
any of that sounds
I'm-
appealing to you, I can't recommend this either.
it doesn't. It sounds
Okay.
awful. It sounds wonderfully awful, and I'm just in the mood for something to skeeve me out, just to make me think, make me uncomfortable, make me see ugly, just
Yeah.
all of it. So
It is
yeah,
sort of
I'm down for
darkly
that.
comedic as well. It's I wouldn't this is not scary. It's just it's gross, and it's confronting from like I said, a body horror and like a gross out perspective, even though there is more to it than just being gross. But it's kind of funny. It has this sort of like hyper reality, like almost like fantasy feeling to a lot of it and stuff. And that's
so.
the kind of stuff that's a little bit just hard to discuss without spoiling it. But
So
this movie, absolutely, it
it's a
will
big
stick with
buy
me
for
for a
you.
long time.
It's a big buy for you.
Oh my god!
When are
This
you
is
going to see it
something-
again?
So I'm going to go see the movie that I keep forgetting the name of, Never Let Go, probably on Sunday, but I might see this again on Sunday. And this is definitely something I'm seeing again in the theater because of the visual component of it and
Yeah.
the sound mixing component. It's something, the sound mixing is so disgusting through kind of the entirety of it, but it's powerful. There's something powerful about how confronting this movie is. And this director knows what she's doing. I cannot wait to see whatever she makes next. Coralie Farge, bitch, I'm seated for whatever it is.
Well, I'm
Push
looking
my
it up.
button, so I'm
looking
here
it up,
for it.
and she's doing Transformers 8.
Oh God, I would go see it if she did it, man. I would go see it. She's a French director. Her previous film was like kind of half English, half French. This is all in English. It takes place in Hollywood, but it just kind of goes to show this sort of like new wave of like French horror directors specifically. They're really like into pushing buttons, pushing boundaries, pushing the limits of things.
That's what you do.
And she falls into that category for sure. And man, this is a movie people going in that there's nobody that's going to be like meh about this movie. You're going to probably love this movie or just absolutely fucking hate this movie. And I see why people would hate it, but this was for me.
Sounds like a love to hate
for
kind of
me,
thing,
guys. But yeah, there's nobody that's gonna be in the middle on it. Nobody's gonna be like, nah, about the substance. It's gonna be an extreme probably reaction on one side or the other.
Beautiful.
So now that we've made it through the substance, guys, Dave and I saw this movie together, and this is one that was Brad from Canada.
Yep,
Was
I went
denied.
all the way down to Florida, and we shared.
Okay, well, that
and...
would have been awesome, man. I would love that.
Yeah, I couldn't make the drive. They won't let me cross the border.
Okay, right.
Not since the incident.
But the new Kevin Smith movie, which honestly I didn't up until like a week before it came out, I didn't even realize was a thing, called the 4:30 movie.
The 4:30 movie. So the 4:30 movie is, I want to say it's Kevin Smith, his most personal film. It's tough as a Kevin Smith fan and someone who's really in the View Askew universe to not do a bunch of the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing, like, oh, that guy. Yeah, with the whistle and everything. But like, there's a lot of the trivia that goes into it. That the basic story is it's a coming of age story of three guys who love the movies, love going to the movies, and one of them is kind of achieving his goal of asking out his crush.
Yeah.
The lead, and this is, I don't know how this function works. So the lead, Chad, I don't know if you know it, has been dating Kevin Smith's daughter for 5 years now.
Yeah, Austin something or other.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is dating Harley Quinn Smith, and Kevin thought he was a very talented actor. He was the mute in the Silent Bob to Elias in Clerks 3.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Listen, this thing just screams of heart. It has all the Kevin Smith dialogue you want. It has all the quirky characters. There's a million people showing up. Ken Jeong playing an obnoxious theater owner. You can rave at all the little cameos, but ultimately the three boys put on a hell of a show.
Mm-hmm.
There is the main character who is the Kevin Smith who he kind of sees himself, is played by Austin Zanger. The other two, so Chad, this guy was the redhead who I found hilarious, Reed Northrop. He goes through the whole movie with just a goofy look on his face, like he's a space cadet. He has his mom's bacon with him.
Movie bacon.
Yeah, his mom would cook movie bacon for him
with mayonnaise on it. I was like, what is that?
Wait. Okay, first of all, that's a thing now.
Movie bacon.
It's about
movie bacon is absolutely a thing now.
To me, like, and he premiered this at his theater. If Kevin Smith, and I will find this out, if Kevin Smith didn't serve movie bacon at his own concession stand,
that is a lost opportunity.
Yes,
definitely. No, I agree.
And then the other buddy is Nicholas Cirillo, who does one of the best Vic Damone impersonations I've ever seen from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
Like,
yeah?
he sounds like him. He has the attitude and the cockiness of it.
Okay.
It's just a coming of age movie for people who like movies.
Yeah, and I thought it was incredibly sweet. It's very pleasant. I actually met a Twitter friend for the very first time. We've been friendly on Twitter for a long time. So, Kat, shout out if you're listening to this. And we decided to meet up, go see this movie, and ended up going to grab a bite to eat after this and talking about it. And I had a good time with it. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it is very sweet. I think it's very heartfelt.
Yes.
And I think it kind of feels very much like Kevin Smith in a lot of ways. It's got a very similar type of like dialogue writing, all of that kind of stuff, but there is an earnestness to this and this nostalgic feeling that it invokes that is kind of hard not to get wrapped up in. I mean, this takes place in the 80s. These kids are like going to pay for a movie, trying to sneak into R-rated movies, and then like movie theater hopping like between the theaters for the day, and girls and all of that. And it just really is a pleasant, sweet time. I don't think it's something you should drive 120 kilometers for.
No,
but I mean, it's worth a watch.
Brad, I don't know, because I know he's a big Kevin Smith fan.
Oh, okay. Then maybe
it is, three guys that are trying to deal with what they don't say to each other.
Sure.
Type of thing. And it's the, we accept ourselves because you're a movie guy, I'm a movie guy, we're a movie guy. You like trucks, you like, bacon with mayonnaise, whatever. But like, there's a couple little gross out things that happen that is your typical Kevin Smith.
Sure.
I know what I'm getting out of this movie.
Yes.
I really do. I
stay for
saw
the credits.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Like I said, I listened to Mr. Smith's podcast, even the ones with, he's got a brand new one with his daughter that harkens back to the Spodcast days with him and Scott Mosier. It is entertaining. So they have discussed it. And it is like, I know exactly what I'm going to get when I see this movie.
Right.
But I feel
that's not a bad thing sometimes. I mean,
I feel
exactly what you want, man.
Like it is the opposite of the substance.
Yeah.
I want to see both of them.
Yeah.
I want to see one because it's going to make me feel like there's a bar beside the theater. I want to go drink at it.
Right.
And the other one is I want to go home and fall asleep with my stuffy Belvedere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, this is definitely like, it's kind of the epitome of sort of like a comfort watch in a lot of ways. It just, like I said, it's earnest. And the guy that I went with, he's a Kevin Smith fan, and he went to see Yoga Hosers, but I guess like a live Q&A with Kevin Smith himself.
Okay.
And he said that this finally felt like he got sort of what he was trying to do there, right? Like as far as like achieving that like 80s nostalgic teen comedy type of thing. He said this one felt like finally he kind of found his way more so. And
he's always talked about how
I haven't seen Yoga Hosers, so
he wanted
it's
to
ridiculous,
be,
but it's original.
Yeah. He wanted
Coach,
to be no. The director of Breakfast Club.
I don't know.
16 Candles.
Oh, John Hughes.
He had always like basically looked up to John Hughes and wished that he could, do what John Hughes does.
He was looking for his John Hughes movie here and there.
Yeah, and this is his very to John Hughes.
Yeah,
and there's tons of like, hey, you want to come in for a day? Come and visit. Justin Long.
Yeah, hell yeah, he was so funny.
It was hilarious.
His Striper jacket, he had a Striper like denim jacket on. Striper, the like Christian metal or Christian rock band. He just was
Striper.
That was such a fun cameo, man.
Now I know Coach loves Justin Long from Comet.
I know that's a point of contention with you guys on this podcast. I still have not seen it, so
that's for you, Danny.
Comet, that's the stuff that you have to like put on your bathtub to really scrub the grime off.
Okay,
with a toaster.
Yeah, this for me.
So yeah, I do recommend it. It's nice. It is. If this is the new Kevin Smith, I'm happy that to be there with him.
Yeah.
It is funny. He's just like, well, I bought myself a movie theater, so what do? I shoot a movie about movies, and
Sure.
You know, I own the set piece, so I pay myself.
Well,
You know,
one
Yeah,
thing-
exactly right.
Mr. Smith does know how to stretch a dollar.
yes.
He is not so discerning that he needs $100 million to do anything. He bought the theater and he wrote a movie around it. And why not?
Yeah,
You
I
hire
agree.
people that are going to work for scale and
Right.
maybe get a little bit of back end. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know the budget of this movie.
small.
I
It
know
has-
it was particularly low because
I didn't see it anywhere, but I have to imagine it's under 5 million.
Yeah,
I can't say it has to be because I don't know what money is
Okay,
anymore.
right. It's facts the same.
I'm Canadian. We're still working on doubloons,
Okay.
but I
Oh,
hope it
man.
makes its money back, and I hope they allow him to continue telling stories because
Well, I think it'll be well regarded in his filmography for sure. I don't think it's his best movie made, but I like the direction that he's going. I like this
Correct.
sweet, sensitive side of things. I like the nostalgic push for it without being too. It's funny and it does lean into comedy, but without pushing like the comedy element too hard or to where it becomes too much.
in your
This
face.
is just kind of sweet and funny, and like I said, or like we've all said, it feels sort of like a John Hughes comedy of the '80s, and you can tell he's sort of trying to replicate that, and I think mostly successful here. And it's
I
a
will
definite
say,
recommend, man.
without giving it away, the Vic Damone character starts hitting on a girl in the middle of a movie, and they kind of disappear to the back row, and our fearless lead goes out of the theater and then comes back in to one of the funniest scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is just the facial expressions and so good, so fun.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's just it's
Yeah.
handled right. It's not pushed too far, but it's
So-
pushed far enough to be.
His future son-in-law.
I loved him. I thought he was very
Austin.
sweet.
How is he as an actor? I've never really seen him. I saw him in Clerks 3 and I saw him in the COVID inspired Son in Lockdown.
Oh,
I
okay.
think honestly, I think he's really good.
Same.
There is a weird, not so much of a joke, but a storyline that he's insecure due to his height when he's
Okay.
not
Yeah.
really that much shorter than the other
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly.
But I mean, overall, like he is, he does a good job with it.
He comes across as very genuine, I think, and very
Yes.
like a relatable kid
That's
who's
cool.
not always confident about everything because they're a teen, but
Yeah,
is a
We've all been
good
there.
kid that likes a girl and loves movies, and that really does come across here. And he was easy to root for and
Yeah,
That's
become
cool.
attached
I
to.
like that.
I
I like
don't
that.
think he's consistent, but I think he has really strong moments.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think he's going to be a huge movie star, but I would not be mad if I saw him in more stuff. And I would love to see him
Yep.
Some
spread
in
his
some plays
wings
and
and
such.
yeah, hell
So-
yeah.
Yeah, he can definitely be a third lead, or like
Mhm.
he could be like in a major movie like the third
The
Friend.
Seth Rogen, or
Yeah.
like the Seth Rogen-y type character, like the kind of guy you wouldn't expect to play
Right.
the role he's playing. But I think he has
Okay.
enough charm and
You know his face, but you'll never know his name.
Correct.
okay, right?
Yeah.
There it
He-
is.
I don't
has a
mean
little
I don't,
bit of- he has
that's
a little
not
bit of
like a
goof.
pejorative or anything like that. That is
Yeah.
a role that needs to be
Yeah.
filled.
I would
So-
kill for that.
You and me
You'd be
both.
amazing, Mr. Coach. I would love.
So
The
what is
man
your
with the
what is your
face.
favorite Kevin Smith film?
Oh God, mine's gonna be very controversial. Fuck.
Uh,
So mine off the bat is Chasing Amy. It's to me the most honest he's ever been, the most challenged he's ever been, and the most he's ever made actors look good. Where like
True.
you know what I mean? Like he made Ben Affleck, who was an above average actor at the time, and you really like hated and felt for him at the same time. There was tension, and it's just a challenging subject to go through anyway.
Sure.
True, especially now. Can't
Yep.
remake that movie.
Nope.
How about you, Brad?
Mine is sorry, it's Zach and Mary Make a Porno.
Wait, did he direct that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Road director.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did
And
not know that.
that movie completely bombed made like
I thought it was. I liked it, man.
$2 million or such, but I don't know. I was just there for the silly story, the
The
high
greatest
school
joke ever
reunion.
in a movie.
Pardon me?
They had the greatest joke ever in a movie where it's like,
Oh, I know.
coffee black.
Can't you see I'm
Can't
busy?
you see we're talking?
Why-
Like, like,
Yeah, that's a Scott Mosier joke. And I don't know, man. I set in Pittsburgh and I'm a big Steelers fan and I like pornography. So I don't know. It was just pornography and heart.
Yeah.
It was
No,
so
it is
damn
sweet.
funny.
I
It
I
was
can't
so
believe I
damn
didn't
funny.
realize that was him. I had really had no idea, guys. So
Well, it's not your typical Kevin
I learned
Smith
shit on
movie,
here, guys. Yeah, true,
you know,
true,
but
and it's such a little thing that did that in. It was the title, and if it would have just been Zach and Miri the whole time,
yeah.
it probably would have
oh,
made
it
four
had an
times the
uphill
money.
battle. It had an uphill battle the entirety. Yeah. What about you, Chad?
So everybody unsubscribe now, I guess, because my favorite Kevin Smith film is Tusk.
Jersey Girl.
It's
No,
fine.
Tusk.
Of course it was
There's
Tusk.
There's
Uh,
there's no.
it's
hate
not
in
even
it.
because
Badass, man. I don't care what anybody says. Michael
I like a
Park
lot of people.
giving that monologue,
Yeah.
and oh god, that was masterful.
It was
If you
so
look past it,
unexpected.
It was
Yeah,
so good.
it just was so unexpected. It was so ballsy. And Justin Long, like, I love him anyway. I think he's great in pretty much everything. But like,
Except for
I don't
Comet.
know. Okay, right? Except Comet. Fuck Comet. This is a Comet hating podcast and YouTube channel, guys.
I liked the comment.
Even though I haven't seen it. But yeah, Tusk, it just stuck with me in a way that not a lot of other stuff did. I mean, there are movies that have stuck with me, but yeah, Tusk, it got under my skin. I know a lot of people don't really like that movie at all, so that's just why I feel like I'm in the minority on that one. But it's just
That's
so
the body
batshit.
horror we were talking about.
Yeah, it's just such a gonzo body horror. Like,
And that was the thing with that. I won't apologize for that or anything else. I think it was a brave swing, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, step out of your comfort zone and do
Yeah.
something completely different. I'm 100% in. Like, I
Yeah.
was almost gonna say Red State was my favorite.
I
just
like that one a lot
because-
too.
I like Red State a lot.
just because that's like probably his most mature,
Yeah,
true
agreed.
filmmaking movie. But the goofy in me needs
Yeah.
a little.
But I
bit
love
of Jay
Clerks.
Silent
I
Bob.
love Mallrats. I love Chasing Amy. I love
I love
a
you
lot
know,
of his
there-
stuff.
There's
for
not
sure,
a
but-
movie of his that I dislike. They all have their own particular flavor, and it was just Tusk was. I loved. I listened to the Smodcast podcast back in the day, and his motivation is, you know what? Nobody else was going to make this movie,
Mm.
That's fair.
so he wanted to see it.
Yeah, and
I just that is so inspiring.
if you're a filmmaker with enough clout, I think that is a very noble thing to do.
But you know what?
Um,
Even if you're not, if you don't have the clout and this is your idea, and you could scrape money together and make it.
Yeah, no, I
Right.
agree. And like, I mean, that kind of brings up The Substance again, just for a second, guys, because like this is only this director's second film, The Substance. And this is not something that would test well with audiences. This is not something that's concerned with making money. This is an artist's vision that is uncompromising, that she is putting out there and said, this is what I want to make. This is what I want to say. And I don't really give a fuck if you like it or not.
Well,
And I love that. That's my kind of shit.
I love that
100%.
too. I love that balls to the wall, not pandering, not catering, not okay. Well, they want me to do this, not the Hollywood notes. And
Yeah, you can tell
all
sometimes
that
when something's
stuff
been
that
test
you-
streamed to death. And yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ! When I saw a note that today, Agatha All Along just premiered, and somebody got a note to make the characters less gay.
Right.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like, I didn't know there was a scale. I think you're either gay or you're not.
I have a question, guys. This is from my ignorant ass.
Yeah.
What the fuck, like, superhero shit does this show tie into? Because I literally have no idea.
It's witches that have to do with Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Okay. because I was like, wow, this is definitely
Vision-
sometimes I feel like
Vision's-
Marvel just makes shit up, and I'm like, I know they're not, but
Well,
like,
that's all anybody does is make shit up. Vision and Scarlet Witch, and
gotcha.
yeah, Catherine Hahn was so.
so this ties into like
wonderful.
WandaVision or whatever.
Yep.
Like, okay.
Catherine Hahn was so wonderful in WandaVision. They said we got to really, really do this with her.
And then they double down. They add Aubrey Plaza, who I will watch.
I love her.
Is wow.
She's
I
a blast.
you know what? I saw her stand next to Jenna Ortega at like a like an award show.
Oh, it's that's the greatest clip ever of
I
this.
love that so much.
Yeah.
I don't know why they put us together. And then they're so both aloof, and I don't even know the terminology. I don't have the education to say it, but the two of them are, it's like, if they are not in a project in which where they're both like werewolf spawn witches who own Dracula, I don't like, that's a missed opportunity as well. Kevin
Aubrey
Smith,
Plaza's
right? That
in Megalopolis coming up, and I'm very excited.
Oof.
I'm excited for that movie. I know it's probably going to be a mess, but I'm very excited for her in that movie.
I'm going to take this chance as a segue to the other movie I saw, which had Aubrey Plaza in it, which is called My Old Ass.
Oh, it's not playing near me yet,
you
guys.
talked
so
about
I'm
this
in
a
Brad's.
lot.
So this is another coming of age movie. I was able to go screen it thanks to our good buddy, friend of the show, Pat Egan.
Who, Pat?
So I mean that was awesome. And then I will say I watched it a second time with my parrot on my shoulder and my leg in peg. So I will say that God, this is such a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. Like it's not a movie written for me. The basic story is a girl, her family are cranberry farmers. They live in this pristine area, kind of off of a lake, and they take little boats back and forth to go everywhere and stuff. And she's just about to go to college in Canada. And
Plaza.
no, what this is, I'm sorry, forgive me. This is, her name is Maisie Stella, who is like a recording artist, was featured in the show Nashville. She plays the character Elliot.
Okay.
So one of her last hurrahs, she goes with two of her good friends onto a little island, sets up camp, and they do mushrooms together. In her trip
In Canada?
In Canada.
Oh, we do that.
During her trip, she runs into her older self, played by Aubrey Plaza.
We do that too.
So it's
sorry.
What would you say? What would 40-year-old you guys say to 17 yourself, you guys?
Well, I'm not going to say it because that should get bleak. So yeah,
but that's what the
the
story is, and it is a coming of age, and it is like, hey, like I know you can't stand your mom, but like give her the benefit of the doubt, and,
sure,
and really, and then like she works on her relationship with her mom and her brother and sister, or her brother and brother, and her dad, and it's like, and she gives her one warning. And then it's like a splinter in her brain. She can't, and kind of story ensues.
Sure.
But this was filmed in Muskoka. I guess about 2 hours north of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I've been there. I love Muskoka.
Gorgeous.
A buddy of mine is actually mayor of Muskoka.
Oh, okay. There used to be a hockey stick and glove company called Muskokas, which I loved. But it is so gorgeous. I would kill to live the life that these people are living. Like the idea of, instead of getting in your car and going to the corner store, to get in a small little rowboat with a single motor and just go across the lake and the river.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I feel
it's shot so nice.
I've been there. It is a stunning place. I don't care where you're from. If ever you're in the area, go to the Muskokas. You guys know what a Muskoka chair is?
No,
I do not.
You'll know it once to see it. Some gentleman invented a chair and it's called the Muskoka chair, and it is basically a lean back chair.
Okay.
Coach is googling it right now. He
Right,
knows it
I was
when
gonna
he
say, I
sees
know
it.
how he rolls.
There is plastic representations all over the place, but yeah, the original Muskoka chair.
It
Yeah,
might be what we call the Adirondack.
That is exactly it's what we call the Adirondack.
Okay,
yeah, that's the Muskoka chair.
gotcha.
I have
I think
one
this-
right off the back deck. I love it.
Oh,
I
I
think
got a
this
few.
movie sounds like a very pleasant take on a formula that might not necessarily be exactly new, but a fun and pleasant and kind of new way to look at this like sort of coming of age thing and grappling with getting older and like
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. And I like that about it very much. And
Without
Aubrey
the stuff
Plaza
that-
is always a plus.
And that's the thing is like this girl is very honest and very kind of, this is my plan and this is what I want to do, and then
Sure.
her older self comes and is like, well, yeah, is it? That type of
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
Bitch.
And there's a through line that I can't talk about it. I can't talk about the splinter that they put in the resolution, but God, this was so enjoyable. This was such a nice, like, oh man, I forgot that they used to make these type of movies all the time.
Sure.
And like this is kind of like the trifecta this year of like this Snack Shack and
Snack
430 in the 430 movie have been.
I was just about
like,
to ask you, did you like this more than the 430 movie?
I like this more than the 430 movie and Snack Shack, and this is
Okay.
more of a. This is a movie that's going to resonate with young females.
Okay.
Huge.
Me.
Like again,
Okay.
this is not made for me, but I mean,
Okay.
like you're gonna have like the tweeners to 20 somethings that will find this movie when this hits streaming. This is going to be huge.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm excited for this, man. I've known about
I'm
it,
down.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I look forward
down.
at my theater, but I think it's not till next weekend for whatever.
yeah.
the
I think it's out at the end of the month. And
we don't all know Pat Egan, coach. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm not even gonna try and see it around my area for God's
Fuck.
sake.
But it was
That's been fun.
made. It was made.
Yeah, exactly.
It was made closer to you than the theaters that are
Means
playing
nothing.
it.
Means get nothing.
It's wild, man.
Okay. No, I'm gonna go watch the two Canadians, Deadpool and Wolverine, like fight each other again.
For real. But yeah, what this sounds like to me for sure is definitely like a comfort type movie, just like 430 movie. And we discussed this earlier before the show and stuff, and have been kind of talking about it for the week about things that when we're down, like it's fall, things are getting a little bit grayer, things are becoming a little bit more challenging sometimes, and maybe we don't always all deal with that the best or lean into it in the best way. So sometimes you turn to media, TV, movies, things like that you find a little bit more comforting. And that kind of prompted us to sort of maybe spill our guts on a couple of like the movies and TV shows that we find the most comforting, or the things we turn to in times of darkness that help get us through it. And I think that's a very interesting thing to talk about.
I do too, because I think everybody does it.
Oh,
you
yes.
You all have your comfort shows, whether that be a sad show, a happy show, a reality show, or a movie, a documentary, whatever. Everyone has that little thing that they throw on in the background, or they sit intently and watch to
Sure.
just, okay, you know what? My mood is here. For your audio listeners, that's down. And you don't even want it high. You don't even want it high. You just want it serviceable.
It just feels good to lay
It
on the
feels
sofa, cover
good.
yourself in a
Everyone
blanket.
likes
and
feeling good.
throw
Nobody
this shit
likes
on.
feeling bad.
Even if you're not watching it, sometimes for me, like while I do chores around the apartment and stuff, I'll throw on comfort watches or things like that I just kind of utilize as background noise, essentially,
you know
that I've
what?
seen a million times. And
There's a podcaster, Shane from Comic Geek Speak. Him and I have developed a friendship. He listens to movies at work
oh, interesting. Okay.
and listens to TV shows because you can't sit there and watch it. So he has an
Okay.
earbud in and he listens to it. And I thought, you know what, that's pretty genius because for a movie I've seen a million times, I started listening
that's
to it
true.
and I see it the way I remember it
Sure.
or the way
That's
I've
actually
interpreted
Not
it.
bad, dude.
And I like Shane, Comic Geek Speak. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
That's
That's a good idea,
for
dude.
putting up with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough where like I have a couple TVs in my office, so it's like you'll always kind of see like Lawrence of Arabia playing, or like
They're making a show.
What?
And they're
Is
making
Lawrence of
Lawrence
hold on.
of
Is Lawrence of Arabia one of
show.
your comfort movies?
It was until the show came out. Now Coach has a crusade to go on.
Yeah, that was one of those I saw that just angered me. But like, I'll put on like old movies a lot, like Casablanca and like kind of those classics. They'll run in the background at work where I can turn the volume down real low and not offend anybody either.
I was gonna say
like,
they're not gonna be challenging with kids.
Yeah.
Around and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I have my own set. I mean, I'll start with TV.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, please.
Came across it probably 4 or 5 years ago. And again, not written for me, but somehow resonates with me. And that is 2018 through, it was 4 seasons of Dairy Girls. Which
I know you talked about it.
Dairy Girls.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's coming of age of 4 girls and a guy in Northern Ireland, right at the in the 1990s, as all the big transitioning was happening in that country.
Yeah, you were talking about it, I think, during Kneecap.
Yes,
you brought that up before. Yeah,
and it's just
Kneecap's on streaming right now. Everybody.
Yes,
so
it's on demand. It's on demand.
Check that out. Check that out. That is on my list tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait for Brad. I can't wait to talk with Brad about it.
I'm curious about that too.
I
think you'll like it.
But yeah, Dairy Girls, I mean, it's sweet, it's honest, it's challenging at times. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. And I mean, like, I think that's what we want out of comfort is we don't just want to glaze over and stare. We want emotions, and we want to, expel whatever we're dealing with at the time, almost through the media that we are watching.
Sure.
So part of the thing of a title you go back to again and again and again is something that will challenge you a little bit, and also will bring out the emotions with you.
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
Very cool.
So what's your movie?
My movie is let me look it up here for the dates. It is a 2005 movie. It's called On a Clear Day.
Oh, okay.
Basically it's this guy is very blue collar and gets laid off. Like the shipping yard in England is basically like laying everybody off because they're closing everything like that. All the while his kind of wife, who she's seeing he's depressed, she's trying to get a job as a bus driver. And it's a very kind of small film dealing with like a family that it's an estranged father from his son, where there was an accident and one of his sons was killed, drowned unexpectedly.
Shut.
So he's kind of dealing with a lot, and since he is made like basically redundant, where he can't work anything that he wants, he's trying to fill his day with stuff.
Okay.
And he finally just decides that he's going to swim the English Channel.
Oh.
So he and his ragtag bunch of friends.
That's filling your day.
Which is Billy Boyd, who is one of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings, and Benedict Wong are kind of like
Benedict Wong.
This is Benedict Wong as he's almost like thin and all that. So they're helping him train because like their lives they're just kind of missing something, and they all kind of latch on to him trying to achieve this big event as he tries to keep it secret from his family. And it just all culminates in him and, the relationships throughout the movie. And it's just an absolute, like, okay, life has made me redundant. What is my self-worth? What do I do with that self-worth? How do I address the mistakes of my past? How do I, plan for a future? How do I accept things changing? And it's just a nice little British film about that. And, you will laugh, you'll cry, You know, it's a real inspiring film. You'll see a bunch of people that oh, I recognize that person. I recognize that person.
Yeah.
And that's what
I
does
get
it for you. And that gets you. That's a
No, I
comfort
love it.
for you.
It's so
I love that too.
wildly different than the way that I approach it that I found that very,
Me
very
too,
fascinating.
which is so great.
So what are your comfort things, Mr. Brad?
Well, my comfort TV is actually nobody really doesn't know this. I'm a big animation fan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
whenever I feel that, maybe the elections aren't going good and there's trouble in the Middle East and this stuff affects North America, not just the United States.
Sure.
I need justice. So I will watch the Justice League.
Oh, yes.
The Bruce Timm, Paul Dini cartoon of the Justice League, that the 7 members of the Justice League. You got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and I know there's more, but it's escaping me. And it is moved into Justice League Unlimited, which had an entire roving cast of
I was gonna say it has to be revolving if
heroes.
it's unlimited. Like
and has my absolute favorite superhero ever, Black Canary, like spotlit, and it's just good triumphing over evil.
Yeah, sure.
And it is Tales oldest time, big comic guy, big animation. So just to watch this, I've got a Superman tattoo. Just to watch him. Pardon me?
Where's your tattoo?
In Canada.
No, I mean on your body.
It's on my right thigh.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm just thinking I haven't seen it, so yeah, you're gonna have to show me.
Yeah,
So no, if it was an
it's on
inappropriate
my
place,
calf.
man.
Shit. Whenever anybody sees, oh, nice tattoo, I'm like, oh, that's a birthmark. And then I just walk away.
Nice.
And it just to see, it was written so compelling. It's not black and white. It is, what we doing? Is it right? And it is a big long arc that really deserves more respect than an animated feature actually gets. So
Sure.
Yeah, Justice League Unlimited was
Animation can be wildly powerful, man, in my opinion.
it is my favorite medium because you can do anything with it. Anything and everything.
It's not my favorite medium, but I definitely get what you're saying. And yeah, animation, it's won me over more and more and more as
the people that dislike it, I'm never going to tell you to like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And my movie, this might be a little macabre, but my father had a long battle with cancer, longer than he really wanted to or should have or anything. And I remember I took him to a hospice, where, anyone knows what hospice care is, it's pretty macabre. And I remember walking in, and we're looking around, and the nurses were very lovely. The orderlies were so sweet. Everyone was very happy. And I'm trying to pump him up, like, this is good, right? This is good. Yeah. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, I like this place. I could die here. I'm like, good to know. So he went into his room and such. And I was visiting him every day. And he said, you're boring. I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, bring a fucking movie or something. We can hang out. Like, all we do is sit here and drink beer. I'm like, yeah. And he said, we live old shit. He says, that's stupid. Fuck. Come on. I'm like, so I brought him a movie and I threw it in the DVD player and we sat there and we watched it. It was the last movie we ever watched. But to watch him get so excited as I was, because I love this fucking movie. And it was callback to Stallone, The Expendables. The original. To watch him see these aged actors still do their shit. The actors that he loved when he was not a kid. Christ, I was a kid. I was a child when we watched him. But to see him so happy, it's a connection. It's why it's one of my favorite movies ever before I introduced my father. But it just kind of like pulled it across that this is absolutely one of like my second favorite movie
Yeah,
that we sat here and watched it. And that was the last movie we ever got to watch together. So yeah,
that's meaningful, man, for real.
It really is. I didn't want to tug at the heartstrings or anything like that, but when I see the Expendables is on television, remember television? Yeah.
Okay, right. You're not passing that.
We still have here phonographs and telegraphs and all that stuff. We have that here too. When it's on, I sit down and I watch it, and I don't care if I'm late for anything. I don't care if I have to be anywhere. I don't care if I'm talking about it. I sit there and I watch that.
And you also probably don't care if it's half over because you've seen it so many times.
Oh
you
my!
Just jump
God.
into it.
I can name
like
that.
you know what's up.
It's got Danny's favorite actor, Eric Roberts, in it. It's got somebody's favorite actor, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay,
my God, it is impossible. It is ridiculous. It is throwing knives. It is blood and guts, and it has one of my favorite actors, Dolph Lundgren, in it. So,
okay, there it is.
That's what makes me happy. Mr.
I
Chad,
love it, guys.
What is your comfort?
Oh God. Okay,
and
so
guys,
mine is
thank you for indulging me. That was a long story. So
yes,
you.
No, it was it made me cry. I'm trying to like cry silently and quietly.
I'm sorry.
But no, I love it. I love you sharing that for real. God, my comfort watches are so different, I guess. My TV comfort watches tend to be, and this is sort of an across the board thing, reality television, and probably more specifically cooking reality television and shit like Kitchen Nightmares or Hell's Kitchen, like that kind of stuff. I like it. It's fun background for me. I can be in and out of it without becoming too invested. Usually I'm trying to have noise on to quiet the noise while I maybe do other things that I don't have to invest a ton in. And that reality television kind of in general just sort of fits the bill for me. And man, like especially cooking shit, man. I like to cook now that I'm like single and I've been single. I don't cook as much nearly as what I used to because it's just me and fuck, it sucks to cook for one person but I like it. So that's the kind of shit. And I've picked up like so much fun shit over the years and all that. And I've also like found glorious trash like MILF Manor and there's some other shit like a DILF-y sort of version of it. MILF Manor is like,
oh God,
we're gonna have to talk about that one day, guys. Today's not the day, but
please.
Man,
I want to see this. I gotta see this.
I'm sorry, that just shot me back to 2 months ago where I'm sitting on the Wildwood Boardwalk and we're right on the other side of it. The next thing next to my father is my nieces are in. We're looking at T-shirts, and my dad turns to me and he's just like, "What's a DILF?"
Oh, okay.
Because it's on all the shirts there, and I'm just,
you are.
He's like, I know what a MILF
you are,
is,
Pops.
but
Okay, right.
what's a DILF? And it was so pure and funny and just
Oh yeah, I've been called a DILF.
awkward at the same time.
I guess it fits kind of right. But yeah, reality television, guys. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I've said it a million times. I never feel guilty about anything that I watch or enjoy, but it's fun to me, and that is sometimes a go-to. Just kind of really, like I said, more for background noise. And I'm gonna cheat here with the movies. One is a series of movies that I will throw on sometimes, and again, a lot of as background noise. I've seen them a million times, but there's something strangely comforting about the Friday the 13th series to me that I really, really like.
Why?
That there is just this. It just hits this nostalgic element to me. I saw so many of them when I was younger and shit, and I just love kind of everything. They're not. This is going to be divisive probably for a lot of people. I love Friday the 13th, but are any of those movies like good? I'm going to go with no, not really.
Part 3 is pretty good.
I mean, there are ones that I love for sure. And I love kind of all of them, except maybe Jason Takes Manhattan, but he
punched that dude's head off.
I hate that one's so bad, man. Oh god. But still sometimes it gets like thrown in the rotation. Like I've even posted before, like I'll post the poster or whatever when I'm watching like men will go to therapy or just sit and watch their favorite 80s comfort slasher, which is very me, and just lay on the sofa and Twitter, and I can be in and out of it, and I just love the sounds,
It's
the
not
feel of
Shakespeare.
it.
You're okay.
Yeah, it's just fun to me. Like that, I guess maybe that's dark or whatever, but that's sort of what's fun to me. And then my other movie that I turn to for comfort often, well, a lot, I've done it a lot, is The Devil Wears Prada. I have watched that movie so many fucking times that it is
Really?
insane. I love it. I think it's so funny.
I've never seen
I
it.
can, oh my God. Holy shit, you have to. It's a blast. I love it.
No,
I mean,
I'm scared of angry women.
no, oh no, don't be. She's hilarious. Oh my fucking god, Meryl Streep in that movie is a delight.
So good, and Emily Blunt, and
Oh, she's amazing.
and who everybody's daddy.
What is his fucking name? Fuck.
No
I
wanna
hair
hear
Jack
this.
Dorm. No hair Jack Dorms. He is married to Zoe Deschanel's sister. He is
Hold
an
on, hold on,
icon.
now.
He's a gay icon, though straight. The Tooch, Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Stanley too. Yes.
Stanley. Oh, okay. I like him.
So
The movie
he
is a blast, dude.
It's a whole force.
Okay.
Yeah,
I reckon, but
It's just
I'm not
it's
saying
just
no
a-
or anything like that. It was
Yeah.
just like the way it was presented was never like, oh shit, I gotta see this because scary women.
It's a super
know what?
funny, truly, genuinely, I think, very funny and
It's a
very
joke.
relatable tale about
When
a
I
woman.
see
Like,
when I see a guy losing his shit, I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever.
but
When
women,
when I see a woman losing her shit, I piss
you
my
pay
pants
for
and
it. No,
run.
I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you, Brad.
That was so fucked up. I'm sorry. I was just thinking
See,
about a story, man.
Listen,
Ah,
I'm in
don't
I'm
talk
in the
about that off mic.
suburbs. All I see is middle-aged women losing their shit. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of in retail here, so we're a service industry. So all I have is middle-aged
Yeah.
women losing their
No,
shit.
every time I have a woman criticize me, I like it's a mental thing. I turn her into my mother, and I feel really bad. So it's just like whenever
I
I
get
see
it
a
for
woman
sure.
lose her shit, I run, and then I have my daughter punch her, and then like I'll meet her up in the parking lot.
There's
The
just
one
something
like
about like it's a very I think a lot of gays really like it and shit because you're just watching this sort of bitchy ass fucking woman do bitchy ass as fuck shit,
That's fun.
and that's why it's so funny. Like it's just it's bitchy, and yeah, she's not exactly a good character, but she's so funny and fun to watch, and I love
It's-
that movie. I can get lost in it all the time.
And you learn a bunch too. Like that's a movie. I'm like, oh, I never. The whole dress when they're dressing down Anne Hathaway, of like this is how this industry works.
Yeah, that shitty fucking sweater that you're in came about because 2 seasons ago this hoe released this and then did this, and now you're fishing that shit out of a bargain basement because we chose that color for you to enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, it is interesting for sure, and I think it is actually. It's not. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's funny. It's fun. It's good. It's a pleasant
It's what makes
comedy.
you feel good. So I'm never gonna knock it. I just haven't seen it yet.
It sort of has like a rom-com-y element, but it's really just more about like people and the industry and fashion and all that shit. And Meryl Streep, I know we talked about it last week, but like people who elevate shit for me, she is absolutely one of them. I tried to stick away from like people who, but yeah, like her in this, like it's not a role you would expect she would take, but she just absolutely comes in. She murders every single scene she's in, and she's just it's a great comedy to me. So
I
yeah,
will give it a shot.
there it is. So yeah, I mean,
I will give I will give all the recommendations you guys said a shot because
if they come to Canada, guys, that's the theme of
that's
this
the biggest
episode.
thing.
Canada,
Right.
can we get it together? Like, I don't know if we can. At least
Write
as
that
far as new
email, dude.
releases go.
Write that email, please.
God, I wish I could like live put my fake Karen hair on right now because I have like a. Anyway, I need to get a wig. I've thought about doing that shit for videos before when I Karen out about shit. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming back and listening. Hopefully, you took something good away from the recommendations we had this week, or the things that we had to discuss, or your comfort movies. What are your comfort movies, guys? Share them with us.
You know
Like,
what? Excuse me. Speaking of taking away from something, we have a little bit of a not so much a teaser, but like a
Oh,
what we're gonna
yes.
do next week. We
This is
had a
fast.
little idea of something called a hidden gem, something none of us have seen, inspired from something some of us have seen this
At least one
week.
of us have heard of. Like,
Yeah, so Mr. James McAvoy is a very talented actor who is in Speak No Evil. He's been in a myriad of so many films, but there's one that kind of crept up on me, and it is called Filth. I heard this from a podcast. None of us have seen it, so our assignment for this week is to watch the movie Filth
Mhm.
and discuss it next week.
And
It
I
is a
hadn't even
little
heard of it till you mentioned it. So
yeah,
this is
me
super
neither.
duper new to
Me
me.
neither
And
until I like heard about it on a another podcast. Not a better one, just a just another
yeah,
podcast.
just an adjacent podcast, guys.
Adjacent's a great
There
word.
really isn't a better one. Really quick, too, before we go, I know this was not the movie, but it makes me think of the story time that you told where you were watching whatever the fuck movie it was in the gym that was not quite appropriate and got confronted about it. What was that movie called? I forget. I know it wasn't Filth, but it just made me think
It
of
was
that.
Choke.
Choke. Oh,
Choke.
Choke, Filth.
The Chuck Palahniuk, written, directed by Clark Gregg with Samuel L. Rockwell.
Sam
Oh,
Rockwell and
he-
Clark
yeah,
Gregg
so-
in it is so good. But yeah,
Okay.
Choke. Yeah.
it sounds like my dating
I
profile.
that's the reason I don't go to the gym. That's the reason.
So-
okay, right there.
Filth is playing everywhere. Peacock,
Yeah.
the Roku channel, Redbox, Plex for free, Pluto TV, Sling TV,
Oh, it is
Crackle.
everywhere.
It's on Crackle.
Crackle.
Like
Isn't that an anime one?
Crackle is that's like Sony's was attempt that just bombed. And it's a whole bunch of like
It's kind
one-off like Green Acres and shit.
So we're gonna check out Filth, starring James McAvoy, which
On
is
Crackle.
a movie that nobody has really seen. So we're gonna give this a shot. Called a hidden gem. We're gonna talk about that before we talk about anything else next week, or maybe at the end, whatever. But
So
I'm
inclined,
gonna
watch
say
that
thanks
shit.
for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and Chad, take it away.
I was gonna say, if you're so inclined, watch that shit with us, and we'll discuss it, guys. And I'm excited about it. I'm always open to watch literally anything. So yeah, I'm down, guys. And again, thanks so much for listening. YouTube, audio, subscribe, tell your friends. We're a good time, as you can tell. I think it's pretty obvious. Good night, guys.
And everybody, Coach, say good night.
Good night, Coach.
Okay.
You did it wrong. You did it wrong.